If you're frustrated with spending money on ads that simply don't work, you're not alone. 99% of advertisers simply waste their time and money throwing it at the ad platforms and hoping that something sticks. And let's be honest, Meta as an ad platform has been changing incredibly fast. There's new features and updates every single week. But what if you could learn the key lessons from someone who's profitably spent over $15 million on ads in the last 12 months alone? If you're new to this channel, my name is Justin. I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, where we help businesses implement scalable ad engines and grow e-com and info businesses to multi-seven figures with paid ads. With that being said, we've generated well over $30 million in client revenue over the last couple of months. And with that being said, I do want to be precise to start this video. About half of this ad spend is under management on the agency side at paidadvertising.com, and half of this ad spend is under advisory with all of our consulting clients that we work with on a done with you over the shoulder basis. To give you some context, agency wise, we took on about 20 brands in the last 12 months. Those have been varied industries, but mainly it's a mix. It's about 60% e-commerce businesses, 40% info product businesses. Now, when it comes to the consulting side, we've personally consulted on about 56 or so businesses, and some of which being ad agencies, which all had an average combined of about 4 accounts each. So if you do the math, we've seen quite a lot of ad accounts across quite a lot of verticals in the last few months to come out with those fundings today. So I want to share 5 key lessons with you. That first one being, honestly, it all comes down to a creative, a product/offer game, meaning there's 2 things only that matter when it comes to paid advertising. What I noticed is that the best products and offers or funnels that we ran ads to, we could have the simplest ads. In fact, we could have an ad that is almost advertising something completely different. But if people ended up on a landing page and it was a very strong and sound offer/product, they would still buy profitably. Which means this: I see so many people trying to pull their hair out, trying to make sure that ads work, trying to crack the right ad angle, trying to get the right desire, the right persona. And I'm like, man, unless you are terribly wrong on the ad side, which I doubt you are if you're, well versed essentially in the ads manager and so on and so forth, I'm like, the problem probably isn't your ads. It's an offer/trend/positioning problem that you have. It's more so on the product side of things. The guy has hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube, same thing when it comes to his Twitch, and same thing on Instagram. Some of you probably already know about him. Hint, he moves from Miami to Puerto Rico quite often. With that being said, on a given month where he was doing a big sales push, he'd be able to collect about $2.5 million in sales. That said, about $500,000 or so came from ads. Now, we were consulting with his COO on their account and the overall business. And when I came in, it was like they had 3 ads running, most of which were being sent to lookalike and interest audiences. And the ads were incredibly product and most aware. Like, it was super bottom of funnel messaging of like, yo, if you might have already seen me before, hey, if you want to hop into my free course right now, click the button below. I'll teach you how to trade. And it's like super simple. In fact, so simple that when I look at it, I'm like, why does this even work? But when people went to the landing page, the guy had so much social proof. He had so much authority in this space. The offer was so great because he really had a very comprehensive course that he was giving out for free. People were still going to be opting in. They would still buy. The ads were still profitable. Now, granted that when we switched to broad targeting, when we talked about making better ad scripts to have a better strategy when it comes to creative production, results are definitely looking better. But what I'm saying is that you need to have the product and the offer sound first. You could have the worst ad in the world and it will still convert profitably if you have a good product, offer, and landing page. But on the flip side, as mentioned at that point, it's important to not neglect the creative side. It's really on the ad side. It does not matter if you do lookalike. It does not matter what audience you have. It's an interest or whatever. It's like, go broad, use ad creatives to speak to the right messaging. That too was something that was super hard for that client to understand because they had gone through so many masterminds in the last few years of guys telling him, yo, you should do some audience splitting. You should have these style of ads for your bottom of funnel audience, these specific creatives for your top of funnel audience. And we're like, yeah, we're saying the same thing. Just don't limit your audience. Have those creatives through the positioning of the message, but have it again broad. So anyways, that's my first lesson of the year. It's really just purely a creative and product/offer game. If you have those 2 things right, everything else is going to flow from there. My second lesson is regarding the law of 1. in advertising, which is something I've been speaking a lot with our consulting client. In fact, people buy for one thing and one thing only. I realized that as I started advertising our own consulting offers. So that said, we've had the agency now for years. And earlier in the year, I started promoting that we had a one-on-one consulting offer called Ad Engine. And, I was trying to promote, I feel like a lot of advertisers do that also. It's you try and stack in an ad or in a VSL or in a landing page all the information there is about your product or why someone would want to buy it. So for me, it was like, well, you get a one-on-one Slack channel with me and my team. You get one-on-one calls. You get weekly group calls. You get, a course. You also get all of our SOPs. You have, I was trying to stack all of that. And then I kind of realized that like 99% of the people that would join were joining in for one thing and one thing only, and that was access. It was to speak to me. It was to send me text. It was to send me voice memos. It was to get personalized help on their own situation in ad account. It was the one thing that people cared the most about was that. And I was like, realize this is true for everything. If you have an iPhone as an example, well, this iPhone is made out of titanium. It has, let's say 20 hours of battery life. It has a super retina display or whatever it's called. It has a high quality camera. It has all of these things. But like, do you hear someone ever telling you they bought a new iPhone because of all of these things? Usually it's like they're going to buy it for one thing. It's like, as an example, I bought my MacBook because I like how fast a MacBook is. Other people are going to buy a MacBook because they like how long the battery life is. Other people are going to buy a MacBook because they like how secure the Mac OS environment is. And it's like, there's one thing only that people typically buy for. And you have to respect this law of one when it comes to your own ad creatives, which here's what I mean by that. Don't try and stack all of your benefits. Don't try and stack all of the reasons why someone would want to buy in your ad. Focus on one thing and one thing only. It's funny because Apple didn't used to advertise a lot. This year, I started seeing a lot of paid ads on my feed from Apple on Meta. And if you go look into their ad library, I'm sure they're still running some of those ads at the time of you watching this video. They usually have ads focusing on one very specific thing. So they have this Mac does that campaign right now where they go, long battery life, Mac does that. That's the ad. It's a static ad. And then they have another ad that said, security, Mac does that. And it's like one benefit. They're just testing the benefit here. They're just testing to see what benefit people truly care about. And so that's what I realized this year is people buy for one thing and one thing only. And when you're going to create new ad scripts, would that be a video or a static ad, try and focus on selling people on one of the core benefit that they're going to get out of buying your product or service. And that will help you be more channeled with this messaging. And if the ad ends up performing, you now know that people like said benefit. Whereas if you stack every benefit known to man in this ad, much harder to extract learnings from it. Lesson number 3 is how important trends and more specifically market forces are. What do I mean by that? We were in a year of elections, so this definitely impacted Facebook ads as a whole. We were also in a year where there's been a bunch of memes. As an example, the Hawk 2 girl came out in the last 12 months or so. That said, if you ran ads a couple of days after this meme went viral, it just performed amazingly well. The Chill Guy also came out in the last 12 months. We started running ads just a few days after the Chill Guy meme became popular, and man, let me tell you, those ads were crushing it. Every time there's a trend, you have an opportunity to get a temporary boost in results, and highlighting the word here, temporary. This is not going to be part of your evergreen strategy, but what if you could have an evergreen ad strategy like I mostly speak about on YouTube, but also supplement this evergreen ad strategy by bursts of performance here and there based on market trends that are relevant to your industry. Highly recommend you do that because those could really supplement your current advertising effort and add a boost in revenue. Lesson number 4, ads are a hell of a lot more expensive than what most people think. And I'd say this, I'm going to sound like a guru here, but like one of the most important findings I've had now that we had a consulting offer and that we worked with a lot more kind of beginner entrepreneurs. We typically work on the low end with businesses making about like bare minimum, they're making about like 3, 4, 5 grand a month up on our consulting side. So that being said, it's like those businesses or those business owners, a lot of them are very new to advertising. And they expect it to kind of be money in, money out. I mean, to their defense, I think this is what they've been sold by a lot of the people in this industry. But nonetheless, ads are a hell of a lot more expensive than what most people think. And I'll also go as far to say that most people can afford to spend more on ads than they think. And I just ran an example the other day with one of our clients under consulting, which essentially he is in the Italian market and they are actually advertising to psychologists. And that being said, when we ran down the numbers after onboarding him, first of all, they realized that when you count their appointment setting rates, because they're an info product business, so when you count their appointment setting rate, when you count their closing rate, when you count the show up rate, so on and so forth, they were able to afford about $150 or more essentially for a call to have on their side. And that being said, it's like right now, every ad they launched, they kept killing it after like $30 or $40 spent. And like, this ad is not working. I'm like, dude, you are killing those ads way too early. They don't even have a fighting chance at getting you results because you're not even letting them spend what your target KPI is. And that's a truth that I had to face myself. This year is seriously the first year I personally started spending heavily on paid ads. Now, granted, I've been running an agency for years now, and since the very start of the agency, I was doing paid ads. Very low budget though, mainly to add to essentially all the other content efforts I was doing to kind of be omnipresent, if you want. But this year I started spending serious money, and we're talking $10,000 to $12,000 a month on paid ads. And that being said, I, in my case, am aiming in most cases for a $300 to $400 Canadian cost per call. And therefore, before I even kill an ad, I let it spend 2 times my KPI. So every ad creative I launch, I spend at least $600 on it. And it's like, it takes balls to do that. And I think a lot of people underestimate how much money they really need to have ready and set aside to spend when it comes to running paid ads. And I kind of came out with this $18,000 rule. Like, I don't want to take all the credit because I heard a lot of that from Cole Gordon. But that being said, you need to have about 18 grand saved up before you even think about advertising, no matter the industry that you're in. Where does that 18 grand come from? It's about $3,000 to $6,000 a month in budget for 3 to 6 months of a time period, which should be enough. If you look into your ad account daily, if you look into the trends, if you optimize your ad account daily, you'll essentially be in a pretty good spot towards the end of this $18,000 spent. You should be profitable at this point. And why would someone want to spend $100 to $200 a day? Well, for most industries, would it be B2B, would it be B2C, whatever, it's enough of a budget for you to get daily results. Like me as an example, if I'm aiming to get a cost per call of $300, well, I might not get a result a day, but I might get a few leads every day, but I'm going to get a call every other day or every 3 days if I spent, this low of an amount. As an example, for others here in the e-commerce space, it assures you that if you're selling a product for $50 and you're aiming to get a purchase, let's say for $20, at $100 a day, you'll get about 5 purchases a day. So you're getting enough results and statistical evidence for you to then make decisions and optimize, would it be your landing page, offer, funnel, or ads. And the fifth and last lesson I've had in the last 12 months is really just how complex it is when you start mixing organic with paid ads. It creates, on the one hand, this beautiful chemistry where everything just becomes more profitable. So if you're already running paid ads and you're starting to do organic marketing and you really grow an organic presence, would it be yourself with your own accounts? Would it be through a personal brand? Would it be through a branded account? Would it be through an army of influencers? People start seeing you a lot more before they even start exposing them to your ads. And so that being said, would you already be doing organic and you start ads, or would you be running ads and you then add organic? It makes your whole business be more profitable because if you're already doing organic and you start ads, then typically you're going to start just juicing more out of your market. And when you start doing organic content and you already have ads running, then at this point, it just usually makes your ROAS go higher because people trust you more and therefore they end up buying faster. Your conversion rate goes up, essentially is what I'm saying, from your paid ads. But there's a caveat to that. I did work with 2 or 3 info product businesses this year that already had significant organic presence. Like we're talking hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of views or impressions every month. It makes it tricky because you have to spend so much on ads before you get out of the market already knows of them. They already have so much warm intent in their audience that it's like you're just going to be juicing out your existing audience for months and months unless you start spending so much money. And it just creates some murky waters where you have overlap in attribution. Are you really sure if paid ads are effective, or are they just converting more of your organic audience that would have converted anyways at some point? And so therefore, what I kind of always tell people now, it's organic brings you volume. Organic brings you trust. Paid ads bring you consistency. Paid ads are the one thing that will work day in, day out. If you can't post for a day or two, it's fine because paid ads are still going to be running, still going to get you eyeballs, still going to get people warmed up to your product. Paid ads are consistent. Organic brings you volume, brings you eyeballs, brings you trust in your market. Now that you know my 5 biggest lessons for the last 12 months, well, the next step is you need to know either how to not make stupid mistakes or perhaps get the right person in your corner. So if you're looking for a paid ads partner on Meta, Google, or TikTok, and you're an e-commerce info product business, check out the first link in the description down below to book in a call with myself and the team at paidadvertising.com. Now, with that being said, if you want to work with me personally on a one-on-one basis to consult you on your paid ads, your funnel, offer, name it, then check out the second link down below to join our Ad Engine one-on-one consulting program. And if you're not ready for that yet, totally fine. Check out this other video where I talk about how to crush it this Q1 with your e-commerce brand.